A very good afternoon. Thanks for clicking on to the Saturday edition of Vogan's European Outlook. Hope you're having a good weekend so far. Sunshine and showers remains the theme in the wake of the latest area of low pressure, the latest deep area of low pressure to influence the British Isles. Now, we've seen a peak gust of 89 miles per hour at Needles Old Battery, a very exposed site on the western tip of the Isle of Wight. And that has been home to some pretty gusty winds this month alone. Of course, the very first of the three deep areas of low pressure that we've seen impact the UK this month alone. The very first one produced a gust of 93 miles per hour, and this latest area of low pressure has produced a gust not overly far away from that value as well. So very impressive for the time of the year. Also, what's been very impressive is the chill that we've seen yesterday across particularly the northern half of Scotland. Now, this is looking at daytime highs across Scotland yesterday, and you can see here 6.7 at Aviemore, 6.6 at Loch Lisgarnock here, and widely 7s and 8s here. So, folks, temperatures of 14, even 15 degrees would be normal for this stage in May. So crazy cold for the time of the year, and I think we are heading for the potentially the coldest May when you factor the central England temperature, the CET, which of course is a record that dates back to the 1600s. We will see the first sub 10 Celsius maximum when you factor in the mean temperature for the CET, the Central England temperature, in probably about 25 years, I think, for the month of May for the UK. So that also is pretty significant. Of course, yesterday saw the latest date in which Scotland has failed to reach 20 Celsius since 1983. So yesterday, the maximum so far is 19.5, and by hitting the 21st of May without hitting 20 Celsius in Scotland, the last time that occurred, I was only 3 months old. Yeah, I know I look older, I sound older, but yeah, I'm 38, and it's been 38 years since we've went this far into the year without cracking the 20 Celsius mark here in Scotland. So we just continue to break records for this ridiculously cold April and May, and it's going to be interesting to see how the final days pan out in terms of temperature, because we've got a little bit of a disagreement now starting to show up in the models. This is the CFSV2 for the upcoming 7-day period, and of course, without doubt, firmly below normal temperatures. This, of course, is a 7-day mean, of course, and you can see how firmly locked in the chill we remain, and this takes us out to the 28th of the month here. Then, as we go into the week 2 of the CFSV2, we shift the core of the cold into the eastern half of Europe. Yeah, we're still left with a legacy of chilly air over the UK, but notice here that we're starting to warm things up over Scotland compared to normal here. And the reason why that will be the case is because we're going to start to see, as we press through next week or the upcoming week, we're going to start to see high pressure building in, especially over Scotland here. So, of course, with high pressure, clear skies, light winds, strong late May sunshine, we're going to start to see the temperature recover, and we're likely to see the temperature reach 20 Celsius finally for the year across Scotland here. So you can see the pullback here, and then the CFSV2 starts to bring us into a pretty warm pattern into week 2 and the middle portion of June. But again, getting the timing of the speed of this warm up remains a little bit open to question. I have to admit, I didn't expect us to go through this length of time without really warming up properly, but when it comes to weather and climate, stranger things have happened, and it has happened in the past, of course. This is the period 6 to 10 days, and you can see here this takes us between the period the 27th through to the 1st of June. And again, below normal temperatures here. So rather than having that recovery like the CFSV2 has, we're still staying in the cool theme. And even as we go into the 11 to 15 day period here, which takes us through the first full week of June, it still has us in the cool, whereas of course the CFSV2 has us starting to warm up quite a bit here. Looking at the GFS ensemble here, and you can see here, this is the 500 millibar and also the heights here, and you can see here that as I play through the loop, you've got the high pressure, you've got the yellows and even some of the oranges here down across the south, blues representing low thicknesses, low heights across the top, and you notice here that we've got another deep area of low pressure that makes inroads later this weekend and into next week. This isn't quite as deep as probably the last three have been, but this is another area of low pressure, wind, more heavy rain, of course. Several parts of the UK, by the way, are already in excess of 200% the normal rainfall, which is pretty remarkable. And of course, we've seen this before, one extreme to another. April and May 2012 is a good example, or should I actually say the month of March was one of the driest and it was very warm. But then we flipped to the wettest April on record for the UK in 2012. Now, that turned out to be quite a cool, wet summer. And as I start to build the summer forecast, which is a bit late, I have to admit, this year, I'm very much leaning on the cool, wet side of things, based on the type of pattern that we've got, given the parameters that are in play, such as the Madden-Julian oscillation, the low solar activity, the type of winter we've had, the sea surface temperatures, rainfall distribution, the nature of the spring is all pointing towards a cooler, wetter summer across the UK here. So that is what I'm going for, I think. And it's going to be interesting to see, but we just are struggling to get anything warm. Yeah, we might have high pressure building towards the end of the week. This is high pressure, but look at the colors in the chart. They're greens, they're dull green colors, which represent low heights generally, but also we've got still chilly air in place. This rut that we continuously are stuck in, we're having a hard time really warming up. And you can see that here, that these yellows and oranges just simply cannot break ground, cannot make inroads to the British airspace here. And it looks as if we're going to just have to watch these thicker values down here, the warmer air across Spain, across the Mediterranean. At the moment, folks, I just don't see that lifting north before at least the end of this month here. So we're just going to have to hang fire and be somewhat patient as we go forward. Finally, I want to look at this again. This is the global temperatures for the month of May so far. A lot of hype about the heat that we're seeing up across the Arctic region of Russia. Yeah, 31, 32 degrees, warmest temperatures on record for the month of May. I get that. My problem is, though, however, is the bias towards heat all the time. If you compile the overall globe, including Antarctica, look at how cold Antarctica is. So we've got a massive zone of cold here around the southern, the South Pole. We've got a lot of blues on this chart as well. Most of Greenland, pretty much all of North America, all of Europe near enough, and even a large chunk of South Africa, the southern half of Africa at least. And look at this here in particular is important. While we're talking about 20 above normal here across parts of Russia, folks, we're talking about 20 Celsius below normal in northern India, into Pakistan. This region here, folks, at this time of the year is the warmest place on earth normally, and we're getting the temperatures 20 Celsius below normal here. So folks, I think as much as this is a big deal here, you know, your 30s up against the Arctic Ocean coast here, you're getting 20 Celsius below normal in the very hottest part of the world here. So that to me is as big of a story as that there. And it kind of infuriates me a wee bit because there is no mention of this. Delhi had the coldest May temperature since 1951, but there's no mention of this at all. Nobody's talking about the chill that's over a vast area covering the, you know, this here, folks, is the second most populated country in the world, India, and they're suffering below normal temperatures here. Pakistan, places in northwest India and parts of Pakistan that in recent years has seen temperatures of 50 Celsius. We're struggling to get into the high 30s at the moment in these very areas here, folks. So this is something that I'm wanting to try and point out here, is whatever you want to blame, the Mann-Julian oscillation has a lot to answer for, because it has been enhancing the rainfall in this region, and in a sense it is this here rainfall and cool temperatures that is forcing the stronger than normal high pressure and the heat across the Arctic region of Russia here. So in a sense it's cool down in the hot zone that is producing the heat up across the far north here. And this is something that has just been completely ignored by not only mainstream media, but also so-called climate experts or weather experts, whatever you want to say. The agenda-driven global warming, it just gets jumped on when you see things like that there. But yet let's not ignore the fact that we've got this typically horrid place at this time of the year. Temperatures into the mid 40s widely, temperatures close to 50 Celsius. We're getting nowhere near that. We're 20 Celsius below even normal in this region of the world here, and I think that is very important to point out here. And I think when you compile the whole net area of the world, including Antarctica, I actually think we've got more cool than we have warm, but of course that is not looked at all here. So rant over. Hope you have a great rest of your Saturday, a great rest of your weekend. Stay safe if you're traveling about, and I'll be back in the next couple of days with more. Hope you have a great day. Bye for now.